As I promised you guys, the Toronto Raptors preseason preview is here. Raptors preseason kicks off on Saturday night as the Raptors are in Vancouver taking on the Portland Trail Blazers. And this right here is the start of what is arguably the most anticipated Raptor season in franchise history. Now, you could argue about other years and all that kind of stuff, but the Raptors traded their franchise player in the offseason in DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard. Big deal. You bring in a guy like Danny Green. Lots of good stuff there, you know, and you bring in a lot of new faces, but keep the same core for the most part. And there's a lot of questions heading into next season. Where's somebody going to play? Is Ibaka going to come off the bench? Is JV going to come off the bench and they're going to play small half the time? I don't know what the heck's going to happen. But what this video is for is kind of previewing what we're going to be seeing in preseason. That's really what we're doing here. For the Leafs, we will probably be doing a season preview at some point. The Leafs don't play till Wednesday, and the Jays are done on Sunday. So either Monday or Tuesday, I'll be figuring out something to do for you guys for that. But for the Raptors, there's a lot of questions heading into this year. And I'm not talking about contract situations when it comes to Kawhi Leonard. That's not what I mean. It's about the expectations for certain players, and can they live up to the hype? First off, Jonas Valanciunas, he is going to be leaned on some more this year. He's got to continue to improve. Obviously, last year implemented the three-point shot, and in my eyes, he was a little bit better defensively than he has been in years past. You know, and he's your starting guy. I think that's not going to change, at least from the start of the year. You look at Greg Monroe as the backup center, and there's your 1-2. Greg Monroe offensively is not terrible. He does his job. He grabs the scrappy rebounds, and he's good at putbacks, and he does all that kind of stuff, right? Problem, he's slow. And with the new NBA and with the way the NBA is right now, everything's fast and quick. So with Greg Monroe, it might be a little interesting to see how he is on the defensive end. However, his physicality, his size, and the way he plays the game, it might kind of, you know, yes, he's slow, but the way he plays the game might be a kind of a counteract to teams trying to blow by him and stuff like that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. You know, I just can't wait to see these guys in preseason, kind of see how they are in Raptors uniforms, see how they are chemistry-wise between everybody, and Greg Monroe is going to be a part of the bench mob. He's got to replace Jakob Poeltl. It's going to be a big difference for him, having a lot of guys that can move the ball at an extremely high pace, and he's obviously not a guy that can run like that runs all that well and defends all that well. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Greg Monroe, especially early in the year once the legs aren't going right away. You go to the power forward spot, you know, we're talking about Serge Ibaka and Pascal Siakam as our, you know, your 1-2. I know there's guys that are going to be trying out and more or less in the D League, the G League. But Ibaka and Siakam in your 1-2 punch. But the thing is, guys, a lot of fans, including myself, weren't really a huge fan of Serge Ibaka. Now, we heard throughout training camp and everything that Ibaka is going to be starting to take less threes and be more in the paint. And when I heard that, if that is actually what's going to be happening, praise the Lord. Because you don't need Ibaka to shoot threes. You want him to be grimy and tough on the glass and get you some greasy rebounds, get you putbacks where he is good. That's where Serge Ibaka is good, from the mid-range down. He's tried to implement the three. There's times where he's been good, but overall, he's not a very good three-point shooter. So seeing him play more on the inside would be great. Pascal Siakam has taken enormous strides last year. Obviously, he was terrible shooting the three for the first half of the year, but then the second half, he found his stroke, and he really started to drain some threes late in the season. He was great down the stretch and into the playoffs, and we've heard, obviously, you know, with him, Freddie, DeLon, all those, basically the bench mob guys, playing out in LA with James Harden and all the big names, all those guys, Harden, and like I said, all those guys out there, they were impressed with Siakam. They said he looked great. He looked like he played with a lot of energy and everything. Now, we know how Pascal Siakam plays. But if we're hearing these things from Harden and Westbrook and all these guys that were, Durant was out there, and all those kinds of guys, is Pascal Siakam going to take over the spot with Serge Ibaka this year? Now, only their play will be able to dictate that. If Serge Ibaka starts playing ridiculously well, then he will keep the spot. If Siakam plays a mile better than him, you know who's getting the spot. Nick Nurse is going to be very interesting to watch, right? There's another new face that we're kind of waiting to see. There's a lot of wait and see when it comes to this team heading into the year. You look at the small forward spot, obviously leading the charge is Kawhi Leonard. And there's a lot of questions around who's going to be backing him up. Are you going to have OG? Well, we know what the ceiling is for OG Anunoby. He's very similar to Kawhi Leonard in a sense of his play and the way he acts off the court. So I don't really know what we're going to see. I don't know if OG is going to be backing him up and playing with the mob on the bench. If so, that's another threat you add there. But if that's the case, where do you put CJ Miles, right? Is he going to be in the starting rotation? Well, what are you going to do with Danny Green? The Raptors are in a very good problem situation for this year. That's all we're talking about, people. I love the looks of OG. He's taken some good strides in the offseason. He had a very good year as a rookie last season, coming off some horrific injury the year before in college. I mean, no one expected him to play as many games and as many minutes as he did last year, and he does, and he plays an exceptional job there. But you throw in a guy like Kawhi Leonard, you know he's getting that spot. And how's Kawhi going to do? I know we know what Kawhi Leonard is, guys, but he played a total of 9 games last year. So I'm assuming he's going to be the same Kawhi Leonard, as we all assume so, heading into the year. So he's going to have that number 1 spot. I don't know who's going to be backing him up. Then you go to the shooting guard spot, the big hole left by DeMar DeRozan. You added Danny Green in that trade. And I think this is the year, I mean, it's my gut feeling, that Norman Powell breaks through. You know, he had the great rookie campaign. He felt like the sky was the limit and he can do no wrong. Starts the year in the rotation last season for the Raptors, but was terrible. And he ends the year on a bench role, not even in the bench mob, coming in mop-up situations, and he barely played. Now, I'm not ripping on Coach Casey for that, and I know it's hard when a guy's not playing well to play him to try and get him out of the slump. It's difficult when you're a 60-win team or 59-win team, as the Raptors were last year. It's hard to do that. But I think now, with your limited amount of players there, you know, before you had OG Anunoby, you had guys like, obviously DeMar DeRozan was your starter. And I think now with Danny Green being there, a guy who's not going to take the role and run with it, as he might do. I mean, who knows? But you don't have a DeMar DeRozan standing in your way, as in Norman Powell, right? So I think this could be the year that we see Norman Powell really break through and take charge. That's what we all hope for. That's what preseason is for, kind of to get in the gist of how players are looking, how they looked in the offseason, and then heading into the year. Look, I know I'm jacked up about this year, guys. I know you guys are too. Now let's go to the point guard situation, and of course, all eyes are locked on Kyle Lowry, and rightfully so. You know, with the departure of his best friend, we're hearing that when the trade happened, he was not answering calls from Asai or any coaching staff or anything. Tells you how angry he was about DeMar DeRozan getting traded. Now, if you're moving forward to the press conference, obviously the media day that we saw Kawhi Leonard talk for the first time and had his amazing laugh introduced to the Toronto media. You heard Kyle Lowry's interview as well, and I gotta say, as much as people probably chirped him hard for the way he acted when the trade went down with DeMar DeRozan, and I don't blame him or DeMar for acting the way they did. But DeMar clearly hasn't moved on, which, I mean, I understand it. I do. But Kyle Lowry, whether he's moved on or not, he did a very professional job to the Toronto media at Media Day. So I hope we see the same Kyle Lowry we know and love going into the year. But if not, you have Fred VanVleet and DeLon Wright waiting right there to take a spot, or to if you limit the minutes of Lowry and give more to whoever's playing well that game or in that stretch, right, of 3 games in 4 nights. Whoever's playing better in that stretch and Kyle Lowry's having a stinker of a time, switch it up, you know. But if Lowry's taking it, he's taking it to a new level. It's like, all right, you know what, my buddy's gone. We have the best team. Arguably one of the best teams we've ever had in this city. I'm going to work my tail off and bring this team a championship, even though we know Golden State is Golden State. That's what he would probably say. But it's all ifs, ands, or buts. Can Fred VanVleet repeat his year last season? Can Lowry continue what he did last year? You know, will Nick Nurse thrive as a head coach? It's all question marks that will be answered in due time, Raptor fans. We're going to be seeing it in preseason. You won't see it in full effect, obviously. Why? It's preseason. As for the Leafs, look, they won against Montreal yesterday. It felt like a Toronto-Montreal atmosphere, but then you realize it's preseason. It doesn't matter. So with this, it doesn't matter. But in hindsight, it does, because you want Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors to get incorporated with each other with the new additions of Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, and Greg Monroe. You want everybody to be able to intertwine. And that's when it comes, you know, with hockey and sports like baseball, chemistry is a big thing, but skill does take over at some point in time. With basketball, you have to know where everybody is at the right time on the court. So that's why it's so key for communication with this team. Now, and what do I think this team's going to do this year? If I had to have a preseason prediction, I don't know. I think if this team's going to struggle at all, it's going to be in the first month of the year. Understandably so, because Kawhi Leonard, coming off a big injury, has not played in a game. And yeah, preseason is preseason. You want to get him to actual regular season game action, and it's going to take some time for the chemistry to continue to build. Now, will things light right away, and will things go beautifully? Look, only time's going to tell, but I'm saying if there's only one big issue, it's going to be that. The Raptors improved their defense. You got rid of DeMar DeRozan, who was a horrific defender. We know what he did on the offensive end, and that's why we loved him. But in the defensive end, we talked about it all playoff long, all regular season long. He's a below average defender. You bring in a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who offensively is still a freak of nature, and has won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, an MVP award. I mean, the guy is a freak of nature. But can he be the same Kawhi Leonard? If so, you got better defensively. Danny Green, he's a very, very good defender, and he can shoot the 3 at a consistent rate. I'm not too sure about that. Again, well, time will tell. We'll wait and see. But you got better defensively. You got better rebounding in Monroe, and Kawhi Leonard can definitely grab rebounds. He plays a very hard game. And I don't know. I mean, some of the things we saw last year that some of the things we didn't have last year kind of got addressed. The rebounding was a horrific situation on the defensive glass. You got a guy like Greg Monroe who grabs rebounds like they're cookies. So there's that. And defense late in the season was horrific, and into the playoffs was terrible. You bring in a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner and Danny Green. Now, will it all work and will it all mesh? We're going to have to, wait and see, as I've said a million times in the video. But that's really what this is. On paper, you could say the Raptors are top 2, top 3, in the Eastern Conference. With a healthy Kawhi Leonard and a good chemistry between the core, this team could even be first. I don't know. That's why we play this sport of basketball. Without Golden State in the Western Conference, the championship is up in the air. But they're out there, so we know what's happening. And it's terrible to have that in this sport, in this great sport, but it's the way it is. DeMarcus Cousins signed a 1-year, $5.5 million contract. That's less than Fred VanVleet made. Tells you how much he cares about making money. He just wants to go there and win a ring. It's brutal, guys. It's terrible. But we can't really worry about that. We're in the Eastern Conference. You got to win your conference before you even think about facing those guys. Right? So for this team, I'd say they're a top 3 finish guaranteed. Anything else is kind of up in the air. Philly's a good team. They were great last year down the stretch. And, and they look to continue to grow. Boston didn't have their 2 main guys last year, and they were second and made it to the conference finals and pushed Cleveland to 7 games. Now they have Hayward and Kyrie Irving back healthy. What can they do? Well, the Raptors just got rid of DeMar DeRozan and acquired a top 5 player in the league in Kawhi Leonard and got better defensively. And I don't know. This is good. And all their rookies are getting older. They're getting that extra year of experience now. A lot of question marks heading into the season for the Raptors, for every other team in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be one heck of a dogfight, a top 4 in the Eastern Conference. You could arguably throw Indiana into that mix. I don't think they're there yet, but you could throw them into the mix for right now. But, I mean, guys, preseason, like I said, kicks off on Saturday night. All right, I think it's a 7:30, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 7:30 tip-off in Vancouver. Let me just check here, guys. It's a 7 o'clock tip-off on Saturday night, all right? I'll be doing the video for you guys like I do the Leaf preseason, guys. No problem. I can't wait to get it going. And guys, seeing Kawhi Leonard in a Toronto Raptors jersey, that's going to be nice. And it's funny. Last thing I want to talk about, guys, before I wrap this thing up. I want to talk about the media as a whole, okay? Reporters love to report. And if you guys have made it this long in the video, I applaud you. We've heard all summer when the trade goes down, oh, he's not even going to play with the Toronto Raptors. He's just going to sit out the entire year. Well, then he's not going to get paid in free agency, so there's that. Kawhi Leonard never says anything to anybody, so I'm not sure where these reports came out right after the trade was made. Oh, he's going to the Lakers. Okay, that's happening, right? That's 100% sure happening. Yep, so was DeMar DeRozan when he was a free agent. And, oh, so was Paul George. Yeah, that didn't happen. What else are we talking about here? Right, we heard about the Lakers being that #1 team. That he's only going to the Lakers. But then we start hearing he doesn't want to play in a huge market. So, gigantic market. Arguably the biggest market in basketball in LA. Boston can argue, I don't care. But the Lakers are the face of, the NBA. So that's that. And then we hear reports that his top 3 destinations are the Clippers, #1, the Raptors, #2, and the Lakers are now #3. Well, how does this make sense? Oh, wait, it's people trying to just report to make a news story, to make people talk, and to make people read their stuff. Guys, don't believe what you read. Kawhi Leonard is here. At the media day, he said, personally, 100% you can quote him. Not me, because I don't know the exact quote. But he said something along the lines of, I want to be here. That was the start of his thing. So, anybody saying he doesn't want to be here, those words came out of his mouth. You can call bull baloney all you want, but he said those words. And media, guys, don't, if you guys hear that, oh, Kawhi Leonard has asked for a trade out of Toronto. If we don't hear physically from Masai or anybody around the organization that he has asked for a trade, or if we hear that they've, shot those down, it's the media trying to stir stuff up. That's what, in hockey it happens, in baseball it happens, in basketball it happens. Guys, let's enjoy this year with Kawhi Leonard. Let's sell him the best pitch we possibly can, as Masai Ujiri said in Media Day. And let's show him how great it is to play up here and how much of a passionate fan base. Look, if Kawhi Leonard... Look, Raptor fans, we know for a fact if a player plays well and shows heart for this team and this city, we will love him back. Right? DeMar DeRozan, a Compton guy. We're hearing, oh, he's going to LA, he's going to do this, that's, and that. Toronto was his home. So he re-signed here before even hitting the free agent market. He could have gone home to the Lakers, chose not to. Toronto has feelings towards players. Toronto does things to players. Look at David Price in a very minuscule amount of time. Bang. He loved it here. He absolutely loved it here, and he wanted to re-sign, except the Jays didn't even offer him a contract, but the money he got was a joke, so that's that. Players love to play here. Masai Ujiri shut that thing down about the whole, oh, players don't want to play in Canada anymore. Don't even give me that anymore. That was what, how many years ago? Have we heard that lately? No. So don't even believe what you hear, guys. The Toronto Raptors are a top 5 market in the NBA as of now. Right? Arguably, top 5. And if you're telling me you don't want to play in the top 5 market, you're blind. That's that. All right, so you know what, guys? I did a little bit of rant at the end of the video because the media loves to stir stuff up. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below, guys. What'd you think of the preseason preview video? What are your expectations? That's a new word. Expectations heading into the preseason and heading into the regular season. Guys, if you had to build your rotation, starter and backup, who would it be? And also, you could throw DeLon Wright and Van Vliet behind Kyle Lowry, because I know you can't just choose one, so you throw them two back there. But if you had to choose a lineup, what would it be for the Toronto Raptors Game 1 of 82 of the regular season? I want to hear what you guys have to say, because this is a discussion video, really. It's preseason preview. It's all about what we expect to see, really. And this is for you guys to discuss. Go nuts. Have fun with this. And I can't wait for Game 1 of the preseason on Saturday night, and Game 1 of the regular season to get going against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I can't wait for this. And Tristan Thompson opens up his mouth today. I don't know why he's even doing that, but saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers, you know, they're top. They've won 4 straight, or they've won 4 straight conference titles or whatever. No. LeBron James won 4 conference titles. Now let's see if you can guys get even to the playoffs. They probably will, like at the 8th seed or something. But relax. Talking garbage about the Raptors, the Celtics, and the Sixers. LeBron James, the only reason they won those series, the only reason they made it to the finals every year. So, Tristan Thompson, not sure why you're opening your mouth, bud. But anyways, that's my thing. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, all that crazy stuff, guys. And Evan and I will talk to you guys sometime this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday podcast edition. Link is in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes, guys. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys. Here we go. I love when all 3 teams are on. I have to really think this through. Blue Jays edition tomorrow as they wrap up their season with a 3-game set down in Tampa Bay. Blake Snell versus Thomas Pannone in Game 1 of the final 3-game series of the year. And that is a 6:10 first pitch at Tropicana Field. Very weird timing for a game, but that's that. We'll talk to you guys Leafs edition tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night as well, as the Leafs take on the Detroit Red Wings in their second last preseason game before the season opens up. And next Wednesday. Can't wait. October 3rd, here we come. All right, so that's that, guys. Talk to you guys tomorrow night, Leafs and Jays. And we'll talk to you guys Raptors edition Saturday night as the Raptors take on the Portland Trailblazers in Game 1 of the preseason. See, I don't know if you'll see Kawhi Leonard in Game 1. I'm not sure. You know what? I don't know what we're going to see in Game 1, but you're going to be seeing Raptor basketball. Preseason, Game 1, Raptors, Trailblazers, 7 p.m. tip-off in Vancouver. They're doing their Canadian trip and all that crazy stuff. It's amazing to see. So it's in Vancouver, 7 o'clock, Saturday night. We'll talk to you guys then.